Welcome, confidential listeners, to another entry from our private archives. This is a space for the unspoken, for the deep, dramatic secrets that carry a heavy emotional weight. Tonight's story was sent to me by a woman named Layla, a survivor who learned that some bonds are not broken by goodbyes or even by death itself. It is a diary of a haunting obsession titled The Weight of the Exit. So, close the door, turn down the lights, and listen closely, because the audience for this truth is only you. I had been trying to end it for months, but Joel was a man who didn't understand the word no. I remember the cold wind blowing off Lake Michigan, rattling the windows of our apartment as I tried to explain that the fire between us had turned to ash. Every time I brought it up, he would create a scene, threatening to cry or finding some elaborate excuse to flee the conversation. Joel loved me, I don't doubt that, but it was a love that felt like a chokehold. During the 3 years we lived together, we were happy, at least in the beginning, before the passion faded and was replaced by a suffocating routine. I didn't feel anything for him anymore, and everyone knows that feelings aren't something you can force, something you can impose on your heart when the rhythm has stopped. If it were the other way around, if he had stopped loving me, I would have suffered, yes, but I would have tried to understand. I wouldn't have spent my nights pacing the hallway trying to block the exit. The worst thing in the world is trying to insist on a relationship that is already dead. I saw it in the way he looked at me, a desperate, clinging hunger that made me want to scream. Joel, listen, it's over. It's been over for a long time and you know it. Please, just let's do this the right way for both of us. I finally decided to leave on a gray Saturday afternoon. The sky over Chicago was heavy with the promise of a storm, a perfect mirror for the chaos inside our walls. I started packing my bags, and that's when he truly broke. He made a scene unlike anything I'd ever witnessed, a performance of pure, unadulterated desperation. You're not going anywhere, Layla. I mean it. If you walk out that door, I'll end it all. I'll set this whole place on fire with me inside. Can't you see that without you, my life has no meaning? I looked at him and felt nothing but a weary, hollow pity. I continued folding my clothes, my movements mechanical, while his threats echoed off the walls of our bedroom. I thought he was just being dramatic until I saw him standing in the doorway again, and the blood in my veins turned to ice. He was holding a kitchen knife, and the look in his eyes wasn't love anymore. It was a plea for a tragedy. I felt a chill run down my spine, a coldness that no Chicago winter could match. He stood there, silhouetted against the dim hallway light, the stainless steel of the knife reflecting a dull, lethal glint. My mind raced. Would he come at me? Would he use it on himself? In that moment, he wasn't the man I had shared a bed with. He was a stranger holding my life in his hands. Stop this, Joel. Put the knife down, for God's sake. What are you doing? Please, just put it away. He didn't say a word. He just stood there, his breathing heavy and ragged, staring at me with a gaze that felt like it was searching for courage he didn't possess. I begged him 3 or 4 times before he finally lowered his hand. He went back to the kitchen, and for a second, the silence was even more terrifying than the threat. When he returned, the knife was gone, but the mask of suffering was deeper than ever. Layla, please, don't go. You know I love you more than anything. How can you just walk away from us? I was exhausted. I was done. I looked at him and said the words that I knew were a lie just to buy my freedom. It's not forever, Joel. I just need some time. Let's see how things go, okay? We'll keep talking. Maybe in a while we can try again. I hated myself for giving him that false hope, but I was a prisoner in my own home. Even then, he wouldn't move from the door. I had to text my father and my brother, begging them to drive over from the north side and get me. Only when he saw their car pull up to the curb did he finally let me pass. I moved back into my parents' house, but the peace I expected never came. I was free from the apartment, but I wasn't free from him. He started appearing at the house at all hours, proposing reconciliations, crying on the porch until my father had to step out. It wasn't love he was feeling. It was a sickness, an obsession that was about to turn my new beginning into a living nightmare. For a while, the silence was a blessing. Joel stopped calling, stopped the endless stream of desperate texts. I thought the wind had finally changed, that he had finally accepted that our story was a closed book. I moved out of my parents' house and into a sleek, modern condo in Wicker Park with my friend Patricia. The high ceilings and brick walls felt like a fresh start, a place where the air didn't taste like his desperation. I started going out again, reconnecting with the girl I was before Joel tried to rewrite me. One Friday night, we went to a popular lounge on Division Street. The music was loud, the neon lights were blurring into neon streaks of blue and pink, and for the first time in years, I felt light. That's when I made the mistake, the one that still keeps me awake at night. We were laughing, drinks in hand, and I posted a photo of the three of us on Instagram. In my excitement, I tagged the location, the Blue Note Lounge, Chicago. I didn't think twice. I didn't realize that in that one click, I had handed Joel a map to my throat. That night, I met Mark. He was charming, easy to talk to, and he looked at me with a kindness that made me feel safe. We were standing by the bar, lost in conversation, the world around us fading into a dull hum, until the temperature in the room seemed to drop 40 degrees. I looked up, and there he was, Joel. He didn't belong in that lounge. His clothes were disheveled, his eyes bloodshot and wide, fixed on me like a predator that had finally found its mark. He was shaking with a silent, terrifying rage. "What is this, Layla? Is this why you left? To be here with this pathetic loser? You're still mine, do you hear me? Get away from him." Before I could even scream, he lunged. He grabbed Mark by the jacket, and the lounge exploded into chaos. Glass shattered on the floor, the sound of splintering wood and shouting drowning out the music. The dream was over. The ghost had found me in the neon light, and he wasn't going to let me go without a fight. The brawl was short, but the damage was permanent. The bouncers at the lounge dragged Joel out into the cold Chicago night, his heels scraping against the pavement as he screamed my name like a curse. Mark was shaken, his shirt torn, looking at me with a mix of pity and fear. I saw the spark between us die right there, smothered by the toxic shadow Joel had cast over the room. We left shortly after, the walk back to Wicker Park feeling like a march toward a prison cell. Every pair of headlights behind us felt like his truck. Every shadow near the condo entrance looked like his hunched shoulders. I went to bed with the lights on, the humming of the city outside feeling like a low-frequency warning. The next morning, I reached for my phone before the sun was even fully over the lake. There was a notification from him. One single text message sent at 4:27 a.m. "I'll love you forever, Layla, but starting today, you can rest easy. I'll never bother you again. Goodbye." Goodbye. It felt like such an exaggerated, dramatic word. I didn't take it seriously. I thought it was just another one of his theatrics, another attempt to make me feel guilty for the scene at the bar. I went about my Saturday morning trying to scrub the memory of his bloodshot eyes from my mind, unaware that at 4:27 a.m., the clock of my life had stopped. At 11:40 a.m., my phone rang. It was Joel's cousin, Sarah. I almost didn't answer. I was so tired of their family's excuses, but she kept calling. When I finally picked up, her voice was a thin, ragged whisper that made the hair on my arms stand up. "Layla, oh God, Layla, have they told you? They found him this morning on the back porch. He hung himself, Layla. Joel is dead." The world went silent. The sound of the Chicago traffic faded into a dull roar in my ears. I remembered the text, 4:27 a.m. He didn't just send a goodbye, he sent a suicide note to my palm. I had wanted him out of my life, but I never wanted him to take his life to do it. In the days that followed, the grief didn't just belong to me. It became a weapon used by everyone who knew us. The news of Joel's death spread through our circles like a wildfire, and with it, a narrative that I was the one who kicked the chair from under his feet. His family, fueled by a twisted need to find a villain for their tragedy, banned me from the funeral. They told me I wasn't welcome at the wake or the service at the old Polish church on the west side. I was judged and condemned by people who only saw his tears, never the knife in his hand. They said I drove him to it. They said my betrayal at the lounge was the final blow. Even some of my own friends started looking at me differently, as if I were carrying the mark of Cain on my forehead. The pressure became so immense that I started to believe them. I would sit in the middle of my condo in Wicker Park, the silence of the high ceilings feeling like a courtroom where I was the only defendant. Did I kill him? Was I obligated to stay with a man I didn't love just to keep him breathing? The guilt started to rot my mind, and that's when the dreams began. 4 days after his memorial service, I had the first one. It was so vivid, I could smell the Chicago rain on his jacket. In the dream, I was standing on that back porch, watching him, helpless as the rope tightened. But before the end, he turned his head, his neck snapping with a sound like dry winter branches, and pointed a pale, trembling finger at me. "You'll never be free of me, Layla. You'll never be happy with another man because I won't let you. You killed me. You killed me." I woke up screaming at 3 a.m., my sheets soaked in a cold metallic sweat. I flicked on every light in the condo, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. But as I stood there in the blinding glare of the halogen bulbs, I realized the lights didn't matter. The air in the room felt heavy, occupied, as if someone was standing just an inch behind me, their cold breath stirring the hair on my neck. The nightmare hadn't ended when I opened my eyes. It was just beginning to manifest. I started to develop a kind of panic, a visceral fear of the dark that I haven't felt since I was a child. I can't sleep alone anymore unless every lamp in the condo is burning bright, pushing the shadows into the corners where they wait for me. But even the light doesn't protect me from the sounds. Sometimes, in the dead of the night, when the city traffic finally dies down, I hear it. A soft, rhythmic creaking, like the sound of a rope straining under a heavy weight, coming from the empty balcony. I think I'm losing my mind. I hear whispers in the hallway, groans and laments that no one else seems to notice. I'll be standing in the kitchen and the air will suddenly turn ice cold, smelling of old cigarettes and the damp, metallic scent of the Chicago River. His scent. My family has tried everything. They've had masses said in his name at the cathedral. We've lit candles at his grave in the North Side Cemetery, praying for his soul to find rest. But I still feel him. I feel the pressure of his obsession like a physical weight on my chest every time I try to close my eyes. Please, Joel, just go. I wanted us to be happy. I wanted you to live your own life. Please, just leave me alone. There are moments now, in the peak of my exhaustion, where I swear I hear his voice right next to my ear, a low, distorted murmur that vibrates in my very bones. I look around, gasping, but the room is empty. I'm becoming a prisoner of this fear, a ghost inhabiting a living body. I didn't want any of this when I walked out that door. I only wanted my freedom, but instead I've gained an eternal shadow. I feel like I'm reaching a breaking point, a place where the line between his world and mine is disappearing forever. I just want my life back. I just want to sleep in the silence of a house that isn't haunted by the man who wouldn't let me go. It wasn't just the shadows in my apartment. It was the eyes in the street. The Chicago social circles I once loved now felt like a minefield of whispers. I remember walking into a coffee shop in Wicker Park and seeing Sarah, Joel's cousin, across the room. She didn't scream. She didn't cause a scene. She just stared at me with a cold, hollow pity that felt worse than any insult. The narrative was set. I was the cold-hearted woman who led a fragile man to his end. Even the baristas seemed to linger a second longer when handing me my drink, their eyes searching my face for a remorse I already felt in my marrow. I hope you're happy now, Layla. You got exactly what you wanted, didn't you? You got your freedom. I hope it was worth the price. I wanted to tell her about the knife, about the years of being a prisoner to his moods, but the words died in my throat. How do you defend yourself against a dead man? He had won the ultimate argument by ending his own life, and I was left to pay the debt of his silence. The doctors called it post-traumatic stress. They gave it names like panic syndrome, but no medical term could describe the freezing air that followed me from room to room. I developed a phobia of the dark that became a physical ache. I spent hundreds of dollars on high-intensity lamps, turning my condo into a sterile, blinding lighthouse in the middle of the Chicago night. I couldn't sleep unless the light was so bright it burned through my eyelids. If a single bulb flickered, I would feel my throat tighten, certain that the darkness was a living thing waiting to swallow me. Patricia, my roommate, tried to be patient, but I saw the exhaustion in her eyes as I paced the living room at 4 a.m., talking to a void that only I could hear. I'm not crazy, Pat. Can't you hear it? The floorboards, they only creak when I'm alone. He's here. He's waiting for the lights to go out. She would just sigh and hand me a glass of water, but I knew she was looking for a way out of our lease. I was becoming the very ghost I was afraid of. Then came the stage where the sounds became voices. It wasn't a shout, it was a low, distorted murmur that felt like it was coming from inside my own skull. I would be in the shower, the steam thick and white, and I'd hear my name, Layla, whispered with a longing that made my skin crawl. You think you can just forget me? We're tied together, Layla, forever. I'd throw the curtain open, heart hammering, but there was only the condensation on the mirror. I started seeing him in the reflections of the shop windows on Division Street, just a flash of his jacket, a glimpse of his pale, determined face. But when I turned, there was only the Chicago wind and the indifferent crowd. My family took me to a priest at the Cathedral of the Holy Name. We lit candles until the wax overflowed. We said the rosary until my fingers were sore. But the incosto, the weight on my shoulders, only grew heavier. It felt like Joel was feeding on my fear, growing stronger as I grew weaker. I'm sitting here now, writing this, because I don't know how much longer I can trust my own senses. I look at the balcony of my condo, and even with the lights at full power, I can see the outline of the rope in my mind's eye. Every morning I wake up sweating, the same dream repeating like a broken record, his finger pointing at me, the snapping of his neck, and that terrible final accusation. I didn't want him to die. I just wanted to live. But in his twisted version of love, he made sure that if he couldn't have me, no one else, not even I, could have a peaceful life. I am a prisoner in Wicker Park, a prisoner of a man who is already in the ground. I just want a moment of silence, just one night where I'm not waiting for him to speak. I don't know if I need a doctor or an exorcist, or if I'll eventually just become part of the shadows myself. All I know is that the 4:27 a.m. text was a life sentence. The lights are on, but the darkness is already inside. And that is the haunting reality of Layla's life today. A woman who sought a new beginning only to find herself tethered to a tragic end. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Can an obsession be so strong that even death can't break the grip? Now, I ask you, my confidential listeners, do you believe Layla is being haunted by a real spirit, or is the weight of her own guilt manifesting these horrors? And is it fair for a family to blame someone for a choice they didn't make? Leave a comment below. If this story shook you, please give this video a like and share it with someone who loves a deep, dark secret. Subscribe to our archive and hit the bell. There are many more whispers waiting to be heard. Thank you for staying with me tonight. Stay safe and keep your secrets close. Good night.